If you're worried there's no interesting bricks and mortar retail out there, I'm going to invite you to visit your nearest city and take a stroll around. This week, Ebere and I did just that. We toured some New York retail. We went to the huge American Dream retail and entertainment complex in northern New Jersey, the Wizarding World of Harry Potter. We went to the Dover Street Market and the new Midtown food hall called the Hugh, and we're going to talk about it and show you all about it right now on Everything We Know About Retail. My name is James Cook. I'm coming to you live from Indiana. Ebere Anokute is in New York.
Hello.
And Taylor Coyne is in Los Angeles.
Hello.
This is Everything We Know About Retail, where normally we tell all of you everything we know about retail, and we do it 3 things at a time. This week, we got more than 3 things to talk about. Ebere, I'm still exhausted. We did a lot.
We sure did. Like I was just saying, we hit every corner of the city, it felt like, even New Jersey. So we really went everywhere.
Yeah, absolutely. And I had my little GoPro with me the whole time. So we were taking little snapshots of everything. Pulled a bunch of clips. Was like up late last night, like pulling little clips of stuff. And let's talk about it. You ready to get into it?
Let's do it.
Okay. So the first place we want to talk about is where we went out to lunch on Tuesday. We went to a place that you kind of turned me on to called the Hugh. So what is the Hugh? And that's like the name, Hugh.
Right. It's the Hugh. So it's a brand new food hall that actually opened in New York back in October of 2021. Although I personally didn't really hear too much about it until, maybe February or March of this year. Right. So obviously excellent footage that James got from the outside and from the inside. It features 15 restaurants and bars, right? And they all have different cuisines, right? So there's Mediterranean, there's ramen, there's Jamaican, there's, a burger place. Actually, I think there is an Indian burger place right behind where we ate, right, James? It was like burger place with like tikka spices on it somewhere. And so it's located in Midtown, right? Perfect for the, office lunch crowd at 601 Lexington Avenue. I think it was 53rd and Lex. And it's actually named after the building's architect. His name was Hugh Stubbins. So that's why it's called the Hugh. So really cool food hall. We know that food halls have been a really big trend over the past few years, but I feel like I haven't heard of too many new ones in New York since Urban Space. So when I heard about the Hugh and James wanted to get lunch, I was like,
this one is pretty close to Urban Space Vanderbilt, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, I think Vanderbilt is near
Grand Central.
Yeah, but there is an Urban Space on Lexington, maybe at 51st, so very close by, but different vibe, I would say, between the two.
So my biggest takeaway about the Hugh is the attention to detail and kind of placemaking. I use that in quotes a little bit. But so every stall has its own feel. They put a lot of trees inside. So I've been to other food halls that are in the first level of an office building that feel very antiseptic and very corporate. And this felt like you were in some different places as you walked from stall to stall. So I really liked it.
As an outsider's perspective, glad you mentioned the trees, like that one view. It's like, oh, kind of looks like almost like a ground floor cafeteria, but I would hang out there at the trees. I don't know. People need to put way more greenery into their indoor spaces. It is a missed opportunity. So looks cool. Would totally try it out.
So Taylor, what do you think we actually ate?
What were you? Ebere went through a lot of different options. I would assume it's got to be some kind of like burrito place.
Oh, actually, we went to a Korean ramen place.
Interesting.
Moki Bar. And we were like, well, we don't want to go to any place that doesn't have any line. So we went to a place that had a pretty solid line.
Exactly.
And Ebere, what'd you think?
Sorry, just looking at myself. I thought it was delicious, honestly, and that was one of my takeaways too. Was that it was really thorough, right? It really felt like every different stall would give you a different experience, and that was seemed like pretty authentic Korean ramen. It was delicious.
Is
I
that the
got the chicken
tiniest
ramen.
spoon you ever had?
I mean, yeah, that's what I guess what you drink. I've never really. That might
Oh,
have
it
been my
was like a
first
true
ramen spoon. Like to.
yes.
That's a weird motion, but yeah, no. So it's doing all that, and it was really delicious. I really enjoyed it, and I really don't think that we could have gone wrong anywhere that we went, because, like you said, everywhere seemed so thoughtful and specially curated, that even down to like the seating in front of the different areas. Right, there was obviously a general seating area, but there was also like a bar situation at most of the stalls, and they had different color stools and different. It looked like a cool place to hang out. Like it looked like each stall really like made an effort to make their little 500 square feet or whatever very unique. So I thought it was
I
cool.
love that they have bar seating at the stalls. You don't see that. That's like a very Japanese, small food stall. This restaurant feeds like 5 people at a time. I
Right.
think that's great and a missed opportunity for lots of like food halls. Truly, I think that's an awesome idea because I also
Absolutely.
love watching food getting prepped and prepared and cooked and all of that. So if that's part of the experience, awesome. Trees,
Absolutely.
bar seating. Are you kidding? Sold.
So
Absolutely.
the final thing I wanted to say was that New York City office workers are only maybe 40 or 50% back. And it was busy. We were there at lunchtime,
Mhm.
12:30-ish. It was busy. I can imagine once more workers come back, it'll be super crowded. There's some parts that are like a narrow hallway. But whatever, that was always New York, was everything was
Right.
super crowded at lunchtime. So I think it's a great amenity for that office area. So I think it's great.
Absolutely. And I think something that they did well that I haven't really felt like other food halls did well was the seating, right? Or even just the way they arranged the space, right? There was a big seating area. So your point, James, it was so crowded that we couldn't even find seating in that area, which is obviously a good thing for them. But it was like a big seating area, and all the stalls were kind of on the perimeter. Whereas, not to compare to anything specific, but other food halls I've been to, kind of like it feels as though the seating is like a second thought, right? So they'll kind of put the seating where they can. This place, it felt like they were like, okay, we want people to sit down, spend time here, and actually be comfortable. And like Taylor said, enjoy all the greenery, which really did change the vibe, right? It felt like you're kind of indoor, outdoor, like very LA sort of stuff, even though it was 50 degrees outside. So not exactly like that. But yeah, really, really well thought out space.
All right. So we could keep talking about the Hugh, but we don't have time because we got to go to New Jersey. So let's hop on a bus and jump in the tunnel. And Ebere, what in I dare you in a short amount of time to explain what is American Dream?
Well, the American Dream Mall, Megaplex, whatever you want to call it, is a retail and entertainment complex located in East Rutherford, New Jersey, right across the street from the Meadowlands, where the Giants and the Jets play. That's Taylor's home state, so I know she has a lot to say about the project and all that stuff. But it was proposed for the first time in 2003. Went through a lot of different financing issues and ownership changes before finally it was taken over by 555 Group in 2013. And that's a Canadian group that they also own the Mall of America and the West Edmonton Mall in Alberta, Canada. And those are two of the largest shopping centers in North America. So, like I said, it was first proposed in 2003, fully opened in October of 2020. And I'll just quickly read what it says on there, just give a full sort of explanation of the complex. The completed American Dream spans 3 million square feet and consists of 55% entertainment facilities, 45% retail locations, and the planned entertainment venues include nightclubs, a 26-screen movie theater, 3,000-seat performing arts theater, and they would house 450 retail shops and more than 100 dining options. And that is in addition to all of the other entertainment offerings that they have there as well. So it is an ambitious feat. I
Who's
think
going
is
to
really-
the nightclub? An American Dream. That's what I heard of that. Let's back up to the nightclub. Sorry.
Right.
That's not there yet.
No, it's not
I'm
there.
sure
Yeah.
sure you have
We-
lots of other things to say, but that one really
we
stuck.
walked so much. It is so big. 3 million square feet is really big.
Mhm.
There are multiple stories, so many things. We're only gonna, I think, just touch the surface here. But one of the things that, okay, so there's like mall. Okay, I don't even know how to start. So there's like typical mall stores.
Right.
There's what I would call experiential retail stores that are kind of special and specific. Then there's a bunch of different ticketed entertainment stuff. So let's give some highlights here. First off, I want to say one thing that all 3 555 properties have in common is a theme park. So
Right.
this one, I believe all 3 of them, or at least Mall of America and American Dream, have the Nickelodeon theme park.
Right.
Ebere hates roller coasters, but I was able to get him on a virtual roller coaster. Yeah, I mean, this would be, I mean, the whole thing is you're going to take this, you want a place to take your kids that's near the city.
Right.
So there's so many different things. There's the theme park. There's a huge water park as well. Hold on, where is it? Yeah, there's a huge water park, and this is really just spectacular in its
Truly.
size.
Truly.
And you can't really tell from the video, but the slides go all the way up to the ceiling. So there's some slides that have a really huge drop, and you can rent cabanas at the park, so you and your family can hang out. But I don't know. There were people there, not a ton. And what day was it, Ebere?
It was Monday around like 2 p.m.
Yeah.
So yeah. Not super crowded, obviously, but definitely, like I said, when I say ambitious, that pool was the largest pool I've ever seen. Easily, right? It was the largest pool I've ever seen, like, in one place. And there was just all the slides, and they were so intricate with, it was clear that, and that's what the woman who gave us the tour was saying, that like they were really marketing it towards families and children, right? They said that they're the only real, I forgot what the term she used, shop for, kids in the sort of New York City metro area. So if there's tourists that come to New York City to shop and stuff, there's no real, amusement park or offering that similar to what they have in the area. And that's really what they're trying to draw, because that's where they make the most of their money. That's what she told us on the tour. So it was clear that was, and even, the breakdown, 55% entertainment, 45% retail. It's why it's like, to call the mall is almost not doing it justice, because there's so much entertainment happening there.
Speaking of the kids, did you make it to the new Toys R Us that opened by any chance?
As a matter of fact, we did. And I'll show you right now.
Great.
Yeah, so the new Toys R Us, they've licensed the brand, but it's obviously not operated by the old company, which has been since gone insolvent. It's got a lot of things like a cafe and some other experiential elements. We took a quick walk through. It did seem similar to kind of the kinds of stuff that I remember being for sale at a Toys R Us of yore.
Right.
But then we didn't even, it's multiple stories. We didn't even make it up to the second story. But yeah, we took a quick stroll through. It's good to see that brand alive and well again.
Right.
So it's
I was
just
very shocked.
a toy store, a big toy store.
There's like a cafe, and there's a few other kind of like customizable experientially type elements. But yeah, for the most part, a toy, like kind of a scaled down vertical Toys R Us.
Right. And I think when we, it's interesting that from where we walked in, which I believe is the main entrance, right? Like that, where the parking garage is, and then we walked in right there, you didn't really see any real like clothing stores until like way later, right? The Toys R Us was like maybe around the corner from the entrance. There was like a Walgreens there was an It's Sugar, and then it was like the theme park, and then it was the water park, and then we had to walk to like another quadrant of the property, and that's when we started to see like Zara, H&M, and then they had like the luxury wing and stuff like that. So very, very segmented, but again, they definitely present you first and foremost with the more experiential entertainment concepts, because they know that that's what's drawing people there.
Yeah, I would say, go ahead.
Sorry, no, I was just going to comment about the Walgreens. I was like, what's a Walgreens doing there? But honestly, it's so big. Maybe you got blisters. I'm sure they do excellent Band-Aid sales.
I'm sure. And there's an H Mart that's about to be open too. And they were saying that that's something that the other tenants in the property were very excited about, because, there's customers that go to those stores that also shop at H Mart and are going to take advantage of that as well. And I don't remember how big she said it was going to be, but it looked like a fairly sizable place. So they definitely thought about, convenience stores and that sort of stuff as well. And even she said that she shops at that Walgreens all the time, because, when she's at the property, it's easy to just pick up whatever she needs there. So yeah, very thoughtful in that way.
Our tour guide was one of the leasing agents at 555. A
Right.
lot of information. I only caught like 10% of it.
Yeah.
So right. So there is I would say it felt like about a small mall's worth of traditional mall retail: Spencer's, H&M, Zara,
Mhm.
Primark, Altered State, Victoria's Secret. I could go on.
Right.
But then there is other experiential retail-y stuff that I've only ever seen there. For example, they've got the Coca-Cola Bubble, which is like a Coca-Cola sponsored um, hangout lounge sort of mini co-working space.
Yeah.
They've got the Angry Birds mini golf, where you can sort of experience your love of Angry Birds, but in mini golf format, which actually looked like a cute little place to go. But probably the thing that I think we're all going to remember is the beef jerky experience,
Naturally.
which is truly the height of experiential retail. Oh, and this huge It's Sugar flagship with a big old Statue of Liberty. And Taylor, I just can't emphasize, we're only scratching the surface. For everything I show, there's like 10 more things we don't have time to talk about.
It's almost like, how does anyone ever choose? Like, how do you choose to do the mini golf when like there's a water park?
I know, right?
As as
What your
like
kids are into.
yeah, I guess, and maybe like certain ages, who knows? Certain age groups are into different things.
Mhm.
Yeah, and there's so many. I think what it really has going for it is there's so many different reasons to go. You really could take your family multiple times and have a different destination each time. For example, here's some other ones. There is a
Right.
full on ice rink. If you want to go ice skating, there's a
Next
big
to the
old
water park, right? I
right.
should add, right next to the water park. So like a little confusing with like, where are we? What season is it? So many things.
There's a big old Ferris wheel, and then there's an indoor ski slope. Now, the snow was running, but the slope itself was under construction. I think it's going to be reopening next week. But you can hang out like Ebere is
That's what I
in
was
a
doing.
little lounge area. There's also a little kind of casual bar restaurant that you can hang out right next to the slope. Maybe while your kids are in there skiing, you can enjoy a hot drink or a cold beverage. Yeah,
Right.
so many different things to like just go do and see, like a city's worth all within this one huge mall.
Yeah. There was definitely a lot going on. But it was, again, something for everybody, like you said, so whether your kids are into, they want to do the theme park, or if they're like me and they don't do roller coasters, I can do a water slide. That's like where I max out. It's like on
But
like
not a high one. You don't like
No. The stomach drop feeling is where I tap out. Like I can't do
right.
that. Like, even as brief as it is, that I've just never enjoyed that. Right. But again,
So
for
you're
the
more of a
spiritual-
lazy river kind of guy.
Oh my God, Taylor. The lazy river is where I live, right? If there's a lazy river, that's where you're gonna find me no matter what. Right?
We
Because,
did.
yeah.
I shanghaied Ebere and our friend Marielle into doing the Harry Potter VR, which we'll talk about in a little bit, not realizing that it has some virtual drops in it, that the thing we were sitting on actually dropped. And I was like, oh shoot, I feel bad. I brought Ebere.
No, don't worry, because I close my eyes. Even in the VR thing, I have my eyes closed because I definitely got a little my brain. We'll talk about it. We'll get there.
Final thing to talk about at American Dream is they are also trying to bring in luxury shoppers. Now, I think the idea at the time was there were a lot of tourists coming in from places like China, and they would bring them over to northern New Jersey, which the bus ride there was only 10 or 15 minutes from Manhattan. So not huge. But then COVID hit, and it's kind of slowed down both international tourists returning to the city, but also the leasing of the project. It's called the Avenue. They've done a great job. These are the stores that are currently open there.
Right.
It is such a big space, though, that there are a lot of areas that sort of feel like there's not a whole lot there. Like they've got some great seating. There's different like water features, fountains, and there is a good number of retailers who have opened, and there's several more that have announced openings as well. I mean, we enjoyed chilling there, no doubt about it.
Oh yeah.
probably the anchor is the Saks Fifth Avenue. There was supposed to be a Barney's, but they pulled out. I think we saw Gucci. There's a few others, but it is such a big space. Oh, shoot, I should have looked this up, but I'm gonna guess and say like 300,000 square feet maybe in the Avenue,
right.
and maybe it's 40 or 50% leased. So there's a lot of areas that there's opportunity for the future for leasing them up.
For sure. Which I think is another aspect of the property, was that it's still sort of ongoing in its development, right? The tour guide told us that there was one section that was not open to the public yet because they were still finishing it over there. And even in the Avenue, she explained that, for example, the YSL was in the process of expanding to 2 floors, and that they had, some commitments from other brands for other parts, but they hadn't actually begun, opening there yet. So definitely it's kind of in the vein of the project having opened in starts throughout the past 20 years or so. And there's still more to come there, which is exciting. So I guess we'll have to take another trip maybe next year, James, to see if the Avenue is fully leased, and to see, if they open like another theme park or something. The wing that's not open yet.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the Avenue, once the wealthy international tourist comes back to the city, and there is a dedicated transportation, like a bus or
Right.
something. I know they're talking about doing helicopters for wealthy, high net worth folks, but just for like kind of the middle class and upper middle class tourists, if there was like a dedicated bus, there's just so much upside to this project. There's so much potential.
Right.
It's going to be kind of exciting over the next 5 or 10 years to see what parts of it they can pull off.
For sure. And then, finally Taylor can wrap up the American dream that's been, haunting in the background of her life for her entire adolescence.
Right.
Truly. I am jealous that I missed out. It is great to see how far it's come from the stages of Xanadu in the early 2000s,
Right.
passing this. So it is just good to be. I don't even want to say done, because that's what I'm hearing from both of you, that it's not done, but that we're
it's
getting
open.
there. It's great.
Open. Yeah.
Progress isn't linear. It's great.
I like that.
All right, so let's go back to the city, and a place that I was really excited to visit was Dover Street Market. I'd been to the London location, was super impressed, and you know what? The New York location was, I would say, 90% as impressive as the London. There was just, I think the London one was a little bit bigger. But anyway, Ebere, what is Dover Street Market?
Right. So Dover Street Market, it is a luxury multi-brand retailer that was originally located on Dover Street in London. Like you said, that's the original flagship of it. But since they've opened that one, they've opened locations in New York City, Tokyo, Singapore, Beijing, and Los Angeles. So it is founded by Ray Kawakubo, who is the founder and creative director of Comme des Garçons. Which is a luxury, that's me being a mannequin, which is a luxury Japanese brand that she creative directs. And for that reason, there's Comme des Garçons on every floor, right? The funny thing is, when James and I walked in, we just were kind of clueless, and we were like, we could see that there was an elevator, and I could see there was a downstairs, and we saw a staircase going up. So we were like, it's only like 2 floors, I guess. And we get into the elevator, and a woman was there, happened to be in the elevator, who works there. And she was like, what floor? And we were like, oh, there's multiple. And she was like, well, there's 7. So we didn't see that, because it really kind of feels like the elevator takes you in like a tunnel almost, right? And you emerge on the upper floor. So she told us that people typically start at the 7th floor and work their way down. So that's what James and I did. And they have a wide array of luxury products from a bunch of different brands, right? So Comme des Garçons is on every floor, like we said, but they also have, name it, Gucci, Bottega Veneta, Maison Margiela, Supreme, obviously, right? They have, streetwear brands right next to the luxury brands. So you'll see like a $60 shirt from Supreme, not too far from like $1,000 jacket from, Jacquemus or Courrèges or something like that. So it was a really, really, so cool. Just the art fixtures and just the way that everything was laid out, and the designs themselves. Obviously, I really got to geek out on the luxury myself, because some of the things that we were seeing there are, items that they just debuted in their spring summer runway shows recently that I don't know where I'd find them otherwise. Maybe Neiman Marcus or maybe some at Nordstrom, but I saw a lot of them there, and so it was cool to see those products on the screen and then get to touch them and feel them and really appreciate the craftsmanship that went into them. So it was a really, really cool experience.
I enjoyed James's confused look when looking at the blazer shirt combo with holes in the arms. Thinking about it, James, for your next presentation?
Yeah, well, it was fun because, I am sort of aware of the fashion world, but not in a way that Ebere is. So it was a lot of fun for him to explain like different stuff to me and say, oh, yeah, I saw this fashion show and stuff like that. And, we only really scratched the surface because, it was 7 floors and we only had like 20 minutes or so.
Yeah.
But yeah, the thing that was there the most was Comme des Garçons. Like that was on every floor. But then there was just all this other interesting stuff to check out. And just the each Dover Street Market is different. The kind of the displays and the setups and how they do it are different. So the one in downtown LA, you'll see a different, like this guy hanging with his CDG sneakers on, you're not going to see in the LA one or the Tokyo one or stuff like that. So, if you're kind of like a fashion lover and a world traveler, I'm sure that's like a bucket list thing to go to every different Dover Street Market.
Yeah, no, that's going to be on my bucket list now. Next time I'm in LA, or I don't know when I'll be in Tokyo, Singapore, or Beijing, but or London, I'm definitely going to go because it was just so thoughtfully curated, and just the wide mix of designers and brands that are there. It really felt like almost like a physical love letter to the fashion world, right? It's just like all the different brands were there,
Yes.
Balenciaga, everyone, and
that was beautiful, Ebere.
honestly, that's what it felt like. I've never been in a place like, I feel like, not to disparage any other places, but like a place like a department store that has luxury items doesn't have the same vibe as this place did, right? It was like the clothes, which are art, were made to be art fixtures in the store, and it was like, listen, if I had a spare $1 million, I would have blown it all right there. I would have spent it all that day. So yeah,
yeah,
really,
we could have
really
spent like another probably 2 hours there easily, and they have a cafe.
Right.
So we could have, then been sitting down and having a snack and chatting about our experiences. So that again is another real destination. I feel like every place we went to on this trip, we're just barely scratching the surface.
Absolutely. But that's what they're there for. So we can always go back, right? And spend some more time next time.
So what part of town, what did you call it? Were we in Murray Hill? Was that
Murray
where Dover
Hill.
Street Market was? Okay.
Yeah. Surprising. I didn't expect that. That's not really like a prime retail area at all. So interesting location, but they were in a really cool building, right? It looked like it used to be like a bank or something like that. And I think that's why they had so many floors, because they almost took up the entire building. So cool location for the building, the neighborhood question mark, but it works.
That's like where 80% of my friends moved after college, was to Murray Hill.
I was telling things out.
Yeah.
That's
really funny.
Yeah. Very, very yuppie crowd.
All right. And so finally, the last thing we're going to talk about, we took a walk from Murray Hill to Flatiron to check out the new Wizarding World of Harry Potter. We met up with our friend Marielle Ibrahimi, who is the, I guess, CEO. I know like she's the owner. I don't know what her title is, of Disrupt CRE. She is also a content creator. So there was a dual content creation going on. But Ebere, tell us a little bit about this store.
For sure. So for any of my fellow Harry Potter heads, you gotta make your way to this store, right? It is a 3-story retail experience, and it houses the largest collection of Harry Potter products in the world, according to their website, right? So they opened last year. I believe they were a pop-up at first, like a temp store, and then they went permanent last year in around 21,000 square feet, right behind the Flatiron building. So in a very busy part of town, obviously the Flatiron building is an iconic landmark piece of architecture. So definitely draws a lot of people just in the area. And then if they're interested in Harry Potter, they can pop right in. And inside the store, they have 15 themed areas, including a wand shop where you can, actually get a wand made. James and I learned that the swish and flick that was made popular by Hermione back in book one is out of date now. Instead, they're doing the bend and snap, where you bend your arm and just kind of, you know, snap it at Death Eaters or whoever else. But they also have like a butterbeer bar. There's a place where you can buy the books. There's a place where you can explore the company that does all of these sort of like animations and props in the movies. They have their own little wing in the store. And then of course that we had our VR experience. I think it was it called Take Flight or Hogwarts Takes Flight, James?
Yeah, it was called it says it on here. Wizards Take Flight.
There you go.
So we don't have video of the VR, obviously, but we basically learned how to cast spells and fly a broom, and flew with Hagrid and Dobby as well. Dobby was there. We flew through London at one point, and then we flew all around Hogwarts. And the beginning of it, I didn't realize the beginning of it is kind of like we had a couple of minutes where we were just able to fly on our own around Hogwarts, which was really fun. They had like a wind machine and a water machine. So there's points where you fly through rainstorms and you feel it on your face.
That's cool.
And then a big Death Eater attack where we're all fighting it. It was great.
Yeah. It was really cool. And like it was, again, it's like I feel like it was reminiscent of like a certain part of like book 5, I think, like when they rescued Harry. I'm not gonna get too deep into the lore, but it felt very much like when they rescued Harry from his parents' house and they were flying through and it was an ambush and then the Death Eaters attacked and stuff like that. So we were, in the night sky, like swishing, flicking, yelling spells at the Death Eaters and like actually hitting them, like it was very, very it was very immersive and scary at times, honestly. Like I said, I'm not big on heights, so anytime that we were had to dive down or fly around Big Ben or fly on, I really did close my eyes sometimes because I was like, this is VR, it's not real, don't worry, because my brain was definitely like, I don't know, it's like a weird sort of like what is happening moment. My brain could not compute what was going on, but it was super, super fun.
Yeah. I think the Harry Potter store was probably the busiest.
Definitely.
Like as far as like tourists, like I heard a lot of different languages. I mean, that's just an easy win. There's so many global fans of Harry Potter. I think I took a quick walk past Times Square, which was relatively busy, not like it used to be back in pre-pandemic levels. But yeah, I think that the amount of money that they paid for the interior of this space, it's like, I would say like a museum, Harry Potter museum quality interior, means that they're really in it for the long haul.
Oh, yeah.
Like there's no, this is not like cheesy feeling or cheap feeling, and it is worth the visit. One other thing I'll say is that it's been so popular that they you have a virtual queue where you scan a QR code and then you get in a queue, and then I guess they text you when it's your turn to enter. Now we were able to skip the queue because we had the tickets for the VR. But the one thing that does do is it doesn't allow for a lot of casual drop-ins. Like you kind of have to make it a planned destination. And let's talk about the most important thing about going to Harry Potter. It's the Butterbeer Bar, which is positioned sort of at the end of the experience. Like there's an exit only area that everybody exits out of, and before that is the Butterbeer Bar. I didn't really know what to expect as far as what the flavor of butterbeer is.
Right.
But it was the sweetest. So sweet. I could only drink about half of it. It was delicious, but it was like a dessert. It was kind of like root beer with a butter flavor. Is that what you would say, Ebere?
I guess I haven't had root beer in like a full decade, so I can't fully compare, but it was like a carbonated sort of drink. I think the drink itself was doable. It was the foam on top that was just unbelievably sweet. So that, I just started drinking around that at a certain point because I was very thirsty and it did taste good, but the James with a nice butterbeer mustache. The foam was just pure sugar, so that was a little bit hard to take down. But the butterbeer itself, delicious.
Question.
Yeah, I thought. Yeah,
Real quick question. Can you add alcohol to it?
no, I didn't see
I don't think
anything
they-
alcoholic.
Yeah,
So I
didn't have my
believe it's
flask on
like
me.
the universal, at like the Wizarding World of Harry Potter. I believe that you can go and you can order a butterbeer, and for the 21 and over group, you can. I don't know if it's a shot. I don't know what you're adding to it. Adding a shot seems gross, but I have heard that you can somehow make it alcoholic if you
By
wanted to.
smuggling in your own flask.
Right.
Yes,
That's
perhaps maybe that is where I read it, but no, I could have sworn there was like a version, because I feel like when people think butterbeer, I feel like there are different sides to this, but people do say that it probably has a little alcohol in it in the books.
Right.
It was very rich and very sweet. I did enjoy it though, as a dessert, not as a drink.
Got it.
They also sold pastries and
I saw
stuff like
someone
that.
eating a soft serve. That's what I would have
Yes.
gone for.
Yeah. They had
Right.
butterbeer soft serve. I'm pretty sure it was butterbeer ice cream.
So I don't like carbonation, so I'll pass on the butterbeer. Butterbeer frozen yogurt, sure, I'll try that.
So, Taylor, the butterbeer is served. This was kind of funny, in a souvenir cup, which was really just a plastic cup that was
I don't know
slightly.
where mine is.
Oh, you do have yours, Ebere? I didn't know if you saved it. And they had a self-cleaning station, so after you drank it, you could clean the cup. Oh, there it is.
Yep. So very nice, but it's not the nicest cup.
It's not. It's barely. It feels like barely stronger than a disposable cup. So, quick trivia question for you, Taylor. How much does one cup of butterbeer cost? What do you think?
Oh, that's a fantastic question. Thank you for asking.
I'm curious as to how close you'll get it, if you'll go high or low.
$15.50.
Okay, you went high. It was
Very high.
$10 a cup, which still is a plastic cup of soda, which probably costs
Not a big cup.
12 to 13 cents.
Yeah, but I could easily. Oh, okay, that's very small.
First scale.
But yeah, no, I think also if it were $15.50, you still would have bought it. Granted, like I feel like you're doing this for an experience, but with the average person, yeah, they would. After they've stayed online, they're gonna buy it for $15.50. Harry Potter World could up that price, I think. Should they? No. Also, lots of heavy single-use plastic, it sounds like, is being
Right.
being thrown out like within a day, but it's fine.
Well, that cup, Ebere, is going to be passed down for generations.
Oh, definitely.
In your family.
Yeah. It'll last
So,
for sure.
So Taylor, of the places that we've talked about today, what wait, first off, you haven't been to any of those, have you?
No,
you haven't. Which one do you want to go to the most?
It's a two-part answer. One, because again of my long storied history of American Dream, I feel to truly understand I should go there. Will I be unbelievably overwhelmed? Yes. Now, personally, what do I want to do the most? I think is truly go to the Harry Potter store.
So you truly want to go to Harry Potter store?
I think so, but I will say I have been to the, with that JLL event, to the Wizarding World of Harry Potter, which was amazing. And I feel like I went on it wasn't VR for us, just because it was a theme park. So we did but I did like ride on a broom and went through the whole thing, and it was amazing. So part of me does feel like I may have had the Harry Potter, like I probably know what the Harry Potter store is like. I'm also hungry, so I could go to the Hugh too.
Yeah.
I'll go to all. There you go.
Go to all of them.
Yeah.
All right. Would you buy anything at the Harry Potter store? I mean,
No.
Get yourself a wand or a T-shirt.
Far too expensive. No.
Nothing. Not even. They asked me when we got on the VR, they ask each of you what your house is, and Marielle was wearing a Gryffindor T-shirt, so that was obvious. And Ebere, what did you choose?
I was Ravenclaw, according to a quiz that I took 10 years ago.
Oh,
okay.
I'm a Hufflepuff through and through.
And I just wanted to be different, so I chose Slytherin just to mix it up a little bit. I was just proud that I kind of knew the houses because it had been a while since I'd like seen those movies.
Right.
So I want to, we should probably just wrap it up. Ebere, I would say that in general, New York is one of the kind of global retail tourist and like retail and tourist destinations.
For sure.
And just a lot of vibrant stuff going on as far as foot traffic, which we track quite closely. It is definitely on the recovery. I think it's got a way to go. But everything that we saw in our little trip, and there's a bunch of stuff that we didn't even talk about. Like we went to Hudson Yards, which we even talk about here.
Right.
But everything that I've seen, it's all in a positive trajectory, I would say.
Yeah, I would agree too. We have been seeing the return of domestic tourism. We're waiting for international tourism to pick up as well. But like you said, it was bustling, right? Some places more than others, right? American Dream on a Monday at 2 p.m., less than the Harry Potter World at 3 p.m. on a Tuesday. But still, throughout, it's encouraging to see people back out doing things in person, going to these stores, and trying to get back to normal. That was definitely the vibe.
Yeah, next to my hotel, I stayed at the Midtown Hilton, which is right down the street from Radio City Music Hall. And on Tuesday night, there was an Olivia Rodrigo concert at Radio City Music Hall that was sold out. There were millions of teenage girls with their moms. It felt like things are normal again. Big events are happening in the city,
Absolutely.
So I can't wait to do another trip to somewhere else and talk about something else. If you want to hear about something else, you could check out the latest episode of our Where We Buy podcast. It's on whatever app you listen to podcasts. Just search for Where We Buy or go to wherewebuy.show. The latest episode is a trip to Miami to talk about the restaurant scene there.
Absolutely. And also be sure to subscribe to us on YouTube and also click on the bell icon so you're notified when new shows come out each week. That's 2 directions. Subscribe and click on the bell icon. Okay, please do that.
Third one, but a third option, you can also follow the JL retail page on LinkedIn. We'll be back next week. New episode next Thursday, 9 a.m. Pacific, 12 p.m. Eastern. You can find that on everythingweknow.show or on this JLL retail LinkedIn page.
Absolutely. Okay, so quickly, Taylor, do they have ground floor retail at Hogwarts?
Oh, so glad you asked. Let's revisit book 3 next week.